that's not something you can really do that easily when you're working in the same time zone. Hello, good morning. It is day 41 of our trip, and we are currently still in Krabi, Thailand, and we are going to be here for a couple more weeks. What I wanted to get into today was actually more of the work side of this travel year. I'm a graphic designer by trade, and I've been freelancing on and off, both full-time and part-time, for the last 5 years. And I've been working for a lot longer than that. My work ranges through a lot of things, but I typically do a lot of brand design work and packaging work. That last one is maybe a little bit harder to do remotely, but not impossible. I've been working a lot more the past week or so, and that has involved a lot more meetings. Most of my meetings are with people in the US. I've been chatting with people on West Coast time a lot. That has resulted in some interesting challenges time-wise. There's definitely pros and cons with not being on the same schedule as the people you're working with. The cons are more obvious. I've had to take meetings at some weird hours. Bran took a meeting at midnight last night. I was taking a meeting at 10:30, which was only possible because that person happened to be in Chicago and not on the West Coast. And last night I was chatting with another client and we set up a meeting for this morning, which was 6 a.m. my time. Even though it was already kind of late for me, I had to just accept the fact that I was going to be waking up at 5:30 to get myself set up for this meeting at 6. Getting up super early wasn't too difficult. The problem was the fact that we also had meetings and things we were taking care of kind of later into the evening. That's always a little tricky. I am a person who likes my sleep, so not my favorite thing to do, but when duty calls, that's definitely been a bit of a challenge. The other question I always have is, do I tell people that I'm not in the US? Do they need to know? Is it something that's going to bother them? For the most part, I've just told people when it comes up. And unfortunately, it has come up because they can sometimes tell where I'm at is very dark and it shouldn't be dark. Most of them are used to working with people that are in different time zones. And I've been able to find good times that fit their schedule still and work for me as well. Another big part of this is the fact that I'm freelance. For the most part, people are not expecting me to be online all day and responding instantaneously to things. So if I was not a freelancer, this would be a lot more difficult for sure. One other big thing that's come up that's been a problem for us is the fact that our current internet is not very good. So trying to work in our current Airbnb has been a challenge. Thankfully, there's Wi-Fi downstairs in the lobby that actually works much better than the stuff in our room. So I've been able to make things work, but I have to go downstairs in order to do some things. And not having reliable Wi-Fi as you move from place to place, that can really be a struggle, especially when I'm dealing with big design files, trying to make sure they're uploaded or downloading things from clients. That can be hard when you're just not sure if your internet's going to work at all. And that's very often not really a problem when you're at home or you're in an office. Those two things can definitely be an issue while you're trying to work remotely. But there are definitely some pros as well. One thing that's come up a lot for Bran, as he's been contracting for the first time, which is pretty cool, because he's not on California time right now, he's been able to help chat with other people on their team that are in other time zones. And that's mostly been people in Europe. He's been able to find a time that's much easier for them than he would have had he still been working in San Francisco. So many people are doing things basically fully online anyway, and so many people are used to working with remote teams. So for the most part, this isn't a huge struggle for most of my clients that I'm talking to. One thing that's a big pro, and I found it actually pretty helpful for a lot of clients of mine, is the fact that I can get work done while they are sleeping. We can even chat every single day, and then I can sort of take that feedback and turn it around, and they can see it in the morning when they get into work. That's not something you can really do that easily when you're working in the same time zone. Or you can and basically get no sleep and burn out. That's an option for sure, but this way is a lot healthier and better for everyone involved. So I like the fact that I can actually move a lot of things forward that they can come and take a look at. They can answer the questions right away the next day versus us working at the same time. That on and off really helps to get things done more quickly. So another big thing in the pro column for me is it allows me to have a lot more focused work time. Typically, when I've worked a regular 9 to 5, I've often had people asking me things all day long. You're getting pulled into meetings, you're answering Slack messages all day, and that leaves me very little time to actually focus and get good design work done. I try to put a lot of big picture thinking into all the work that I do. I want to make sure I'm doing research. I want to make sure I'm telling a good story. I want to make sure that all of these different pieces of things that I'm thinking about and trying to fix, that they all make sense and that the solution is really coming together. That is very hard to do when you're currently getting interrupted all day long. Because I'm typically working while people are asleep, it's usually pretty quiet. I'm not getting interrupted too often. So it allows me to get more work done, to have better ideas, to be more focused and really think hard about the problems I'm trying to solve. I both just find that more satisfying. I'm able to come up with better ideas more quickly. And I'm also still able to chat with clients. It's just that time that we chat is a little bit more restricted and a little bit more planned in advance than it typically is. The fact that there's so much expectation when you're working in the same time zone to answer immediately, that can really break concentration and it can slow things down. Even though it feels like you're being faster because you're answering questions right away, for someone like me who's producing a lot of work, not necessarily managing other people or working on the overall structure of a project, I'm really getting into the nitty gritty of the design and I'm trying to create the thing that will get shipped, more or less. And I have a hard time doing that if I'm getting interrupted all the time. But when I know when I'm going to chat with people, when I have big blocks of time I can really concentrate, that's just always helped me to get my work done faster and do a much better job. And that helps my clients too. They know that they can talk to me every single day. They know that they're going to get answers within 24 hours. They can actually get what they need from me, which is great design work. Everyone is able to come out of this getting what they need and getting it done in a timely manner. So I have found that to be a helpful thing as well. I know that that's maybe uncomfortable for some people. I know that a lot of people feel that it's very important to be connected with your team all the time. But for someone like me that both needs to come up with a lot of design strategy, that needs to explain different phases of the projects in good presentations, that needs to really take clients through a lot of design work, I just have to have that focus time. And the longer I've been in my career, the more important I've found that that is for me to produce high quality work. You can interrupt me all the time if you want, but the quality is going to go down. Because I'm working in a different time zone, I just don't have that come up quite as often. That naturally happens because people are asleep when I'm doing a lot of work. When they're writing messages to me or getting things set up for me the next day, I'm asleep as well. I'm able to maximize the time that I have for focused work, which I really appreciate. As both Brandon and I keep working while we're traveling, I'm sure I'll have a lot more insights about all of this, but that's enough for today. If you have thoughts about working with a team in other time zones or working with a freelancer, someone like me who is in a totally different country than you, I'd love to hear your perspective on that. I have not worked for an extended time while in another country before. This is still new. So if you have advice on how to do that better, how to have stronger and better client relationships as you go through a design process working remotely, please let me know. I want to give my clients the best experience I can, so that is very helpful for me. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks for chatting with me, and I will talk to you again tomorrow. Goodbye.